All right. Welcome back, everybody, to our Tuesday night healing. You probably hear my voice. I'm a little sick right now. But tonight, Stormy is going to be running the chat. She's going to be doing an episode that I was looking forward to about autism. So let me invite her real quick. There.
Hello.
Hey.
Can you hear me good?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Not too loud.
Nope. Perfect.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to let you run with this. This is your expertise right here.
Yes. I'm going to be reading some stuff about autism spectrum disorder or ASD. Um, it is something that's very near and dear to me because my daughter has it. And she is almost 13. She got diagnosed at age 3. And so we've been dealing with it for 10 years. So let me just go ahead and I'm kind of going to do an overview of what it's about, and then we'll kind of go into other topics of discussion about symptoms and testing and things like that. So, autism spectrum disorder is a condition related to brain development that impacts how a person perceives and socializes with others, causing problems in social interaction and communication. The disorder also includes limited and repetitive patterns of behavior. The term spectrum in autism spectrum disorder refers to the wide range of symptoms and severity. Autism spectrum disorder includes conditions that were previously considered separate: autism, Asperger's syndrome, childhood degenerative disorder, and an unspecified form of pervasive developmental disorder. Some people still use the term Asperger's syndrome, which is generally thought to be at the mild end of autism spectrum disorder. Autism spectrum disorder begins in early childhood and eventually causes problems functioning in society, socially, in school, and at work. For example, often children show symptoms of autism within the first year. A small number of children appear to develop normally in the first year and then go through a period of regression between 18 and 24 months of age when they develop autism symptoms. While there is no cure for autism spectrum disorder, intensive early treatment can make a big difference in the lives of many children. And I have to say, like, my kiddo had normal development up until like age two and a half. Then she started regressing. So basically, she could count, she knew colors, numbers, she could say 3 to 5 word sentences. She knew her name. She said a lot of words and knew a lot of things. And then they started regressing, like they went away. Like basically, it's like she forgot them. Like they didn't really know how to explain it. But what got me to get her into testing is because of that regression, because she had hit all her milestones and everything up until that age, and then she started regressing where she wasn't speaking. She was more withdrawn, doing a lot of hand flapping, tics, those types of things. Not really looking at you in the eyes, kind of, turning away, things like that. So that's when we kind of first went to our pediatrician, who suggested that we go see a neurologist to do some testing on her. So they did an MRI of her brain. They also really don't have any kind of testing they do for autism, except for they have like a questionnaire that they basically asked the parents, is your child doing this? Does your child do that? You know, it's like about a 20-page questionnaire, and then they kind of do a evaluation with the child as well. So um, we've kind of took a while for us to get the diagnosis, because even back then, I was going to say, like, it was in 2013 So even back then, there was not a lot known about autism. There was not a lot known about diagnosing it. I think back when she was diagnosed, it was like 1 in 158 kids had autism. Now it is 1 in 36. So that's pretty staggering amount of kids who are getting diagnosed with autism. It's a little bit scary. I'll kind of go over some more things. A child with autism spectrum disorder may have problems with social interaction and communication skills, including any of these signs. Fails to respond to his or her name, or appears not to hear you at times. Resists cuddling and holding, and seems to prefer playing alone, retreating into his or her own world. Has poor eye contact and lacks facial expression. Doesn't speak or has delayed speech, or loses previous ability to say words or sentences. Can't start a conversation or keep one going, or only starts one to make requests or label items. Speaks with an abnormal tone or rhythm and may use a sing-song voice or robot-like speech. Repeats words or phrases verbatim, but doesn't understand how to use them. Doesn't appear to understand simple questions or directions. Doesn't express emotions or feelings and appears unaware of others' feelings. Doesn't point at or bring objects to share interest. Inappropriately approaches a social interaction by being passive aggressive or disruptive. Has difficulty recognizing nonverbal cues such as interpreting other people's facial expressions, body postures, or tone of voice. My child has a lot of those issues that I just read about. So I started her when she was diagnosed in speech therapy, occupational therapy, music therapy, behavioral therapy, and she's been doing that since she was 3. They do help. She's gotten a lot better as far as the eye contact. She has facial expressions. She loves to be cuddled and held. She wants me all the time, so she doesn't prefer to play alone. That's for sure. She does make a request, and she does not speak. She's still nonverbal, but she is loud. Like, she makes a lot of noises, a lot of sounds, but she is able to express her emotions or feelings. She's able to communicate with me and her teachers and others of things she wants, objects, food, certain TV, tablets, whatever it may be, or if she wants to go for a ride, or if she wants to go jump on a trampoline. So we had a lot of doctor's visits in the beginning. I would say the first 5 years after being diagnosed, and still, I'm on the second neurologist with her because I felt like the first neurologist was not doing enough for her. So I pretty much was like, you know what, I'm going to get a second opinion. So we did that, and that took me it was right at the height of COVID that I started looking into getting her different doctors. And then it kind of got pushed to the side until last year we finally found a really good neurologist in Houston. And I've been really happy with her so far and with her helping my kiddo. So I'll read a little bit more of the types of patterns of behavior. A child with or adult with autism spectrum disorder may have limited repetitive patterns of behavior, interests, or activities, including any of these signs. Performs repetitive movements such as rocking, spinning, or hand flapping. Performs activities that could cause self-harm such as biting or head banging. Develops specific routines or rituals and becomes disturbed at the slightest change. Has problem with coordination or has odd movements, patterns such as clumsiness or walking on toes, and has odd, stiff, or exaggerated body language. Is fascinated by detail of an object such as the spinning of wheels of a toy. but doesn't understand the overall purpose or function of the object. Is usually sensitive to light, sound, or touch, yet may be indifferent to pain or temperature. Doesn't engage in imitative or make-believe play. Fixates on an object or activity with abnormal intensity or focus. Has specific food preferences, such as eating only a few foods or refusing foods with a certain texture. And again, my child has a lot of these patterns of behavior that we have to work through. She is getting better with the self-harm, but she has pretty much self-harmed for years. And really all you can do is really redirect them or have them go to therapy, things like that, to kind of work on that when they're frustrated because they're not able to communicate, when they're things like that. That is when you get the that type of behavior. So you just kind of gotta really, again, work through and change that behavior to something else that's not as harmful. She is not really sensitive to light, sound, or touch. She has a very high pain tolerance, so that when she's self-injuring, that's really not a good thing because she, like I said, she has a really high pain tolerance. She fixates on certain activities that she wants to do continually, and when you want to change her at school or if they want her to do something else, she does have a lot of issues with the changing of her schedule. Her routine has to be the same thing every single day just about, or it kind of throws her off. Again, as kids mature, some children with autism spectrum disorder become more engaged with others and show fewer disturbances in behavior. Some, usually those with the least severe problems, eventually may lead normal or near normal lives. Others, however, continue to have difficulty with language or social skills, and the teen years can bring worse behavioral and emotional problems. Again, she's hitting the teenage years. I don't feel like we've had any more additional problems, thank goodness. I feel like she's getting better on a lot of levels. She had attended a private school from age 5 till last year that was specifically for children with autism here in our town. So that was a kind of a lifesaver for a small town where I live. She's in public school right now, and she seems to be doing okay. So we'll just see how that goes with her being in a public school setting. But again, the only way you can get diagnosed is by a neurologist, a psychologist, or I believe a developmental type specialist. Those are the only 3 doctors that can diagnose for autism. The causes, I mean, it varies again, even though there's so many children getting autism every year, they really don't, I mean, they do genetic testing. That's, genetics, of course, hereditary. But the big thing is environmental factors, that they're trying to figure out what's causing so many kids to become autistic. And really, again, there's really no one child with autism that is alike. That's another thing that's so just mind-blowing, that it's so complex. Each kid has so many, they can have similar things, but there's no one alike. And then the spectrum of it, where my daughter's on the severe side, there's a lot of kids that I've come across with that school that, are starting jobs and learning life skills to be able to function as an adult. So that's really good to see that, my community does step up and help these kids, hire them at jobs and teaching them things to where they'll be able to live on their own someday, hopefully. And I mean, I've seen and read over the years so many high functioning people with autism go on to graduate college. I mean, it's not a death sentence. It is very much, again, it's just a lifelong thing of therapy, of treating their symptoms, of basically getting them any and all help that you can get. And I really and truly hope that they start doing more research on it and start trying to figure out some way to figure out how it's happening so much, you know. So I'm a big cheerleader, and I will continue to fight for my kid to give her any and everything I can get her as far as like medical, school, therapies, that sort of thing. So I do a lot of volunteer stuff. Again, it's just, it's not a death sentence. I feel blessed to have her. She's taught me a lot of things. She's made me a better person. So a lot of people, when they have any kind of child with a disability, it's tough. But you have to look at the good sides too. There are some good sides to it, and really, that's kind of all I wanted to talk about.
Well, I have some questions over there.
Okay, go for it.
So, one of my first questions is what do you find to be like the most challenging part of being a parent to a child that has autism?
And the most challenging part is that there's no cure, for one, for sure. That's the biggest one. Two is just the extremes that she can go into from day to day. Like, it's almost, I akin it almost to bipolar, because she can be happy one minute, the next minute she can be having a meltdown. And in her being not verbal, it's hard for me to know exactly, well, what's causing it. Is she hurting? Is she sick? Is she upset? Those types of things. So it's just kind of, good days, bad days, that type of thing. But definitely the extremes with the behavior, with just the symptoms of autism, is really a big thing for me every day.
And like in your situation and stuff like that, where you're taking care of your daughter and her dad is like in that, do you find that it's good to communicate with your ex and stuff like that when it comes to things that are going on with her, or do you like to just take that on primarily on your own because you're in the thick of it? Like that?
Um, Actually, I do talk to him a lot about her pretty much every day. What she's going through, how she's feeling, doctor's appointments. I try to schedule when he's available to come here to go take her or to go with me, because it's really hard for me, because she hates doctors, because she's been to so many. And she's already over 5 foot. She's weighs like 120 something pounds already. She I sometimes have a hard time controlling her if she's upset, and she definitely does. That's where he is really good with her. And she listens to him really well, which is a good thing. And so, as much as I can have him involved, I do. And I feel like that is important, even though he's not here a lot. It's still important, I feel, for myself to relay that to him.
Okay. Is there any like when you and your daughter go out and stuff like that? So, is there any places that she finds to be like very good with her for like autism and stuff like that? Like, is there any specific places that she likes to go? It doesn't like upset her in any way, but it's like something she likes to look forward to, anything like that?
For the most part, she loves going into Sam's Club, of all places.
Right.
I don't know what it is about that. I think it's because her father took her there a lot when she was younger, and all the people there, know her, and she likes to go shopping there, and she likes to hand them the card and those types of things. So she enjoys that store. She doesn't like the mall that much because I guess just it's a little bit louder. I guess I took her to the movies a couple of times. It just depends on her attention span, and if it's something that she's interested in, then she seems to be a lot more calmer and able to withstand, the time. But normally we usually say 30 minutes to an hour is probably her max for certain activities or places that she's not familiar with or that she doesn't like.
Is there any like times of the day or something like that that you find her to be, like that you see her symptoms more active than others? Like it's like in the morning, is it more at night?
It is. It's ever changing. Like this week, for some reason, she's been waking up at like 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. So that's kind of like seasonal, I think, because of allergies and weather, that type of thing. If she's had a lot of stress or anxiety from school or from certain activities, that kind of throws her off in the evenings. But I mean, again, it varies so much, and again, it's because of the extremes. Like, you just never know. You never know what she's gonna feel like when she wakes up or when she comes home. So I kind of just go with the flow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You mentioned before in what you were talking about that self harm is a common thing with people with autism and stuff like that. And you know what I mean? Obviously, I always have to throw the borderline spin in it and stuff like that. That's a huge thing with borderline. I know you've made mention many times that borderline and autism and stuff like that, they're very similar in a lot of aspects. Did you want to like elaborate on that a little bit? Like what are like I know you mentioned like there was a couple examples of like the self harm aspect of it. Is there like, what's the reason why? Like, I think borderline is stability of emotions and stuff. Like a lot of it has to do with like control and anything like that. Like, can you elaborate just a little bit, like with the like why that happens with autism?
Um, I really don't know why the correlation between BPD and autism is sort of similar. Um, a lot of the emotional irregulation, the self-injuring behavior, the social issues, that type of thing is they're very impulsive as well. They have like no fear, zero fear, that type of thing. So they, you know, can get into the risky behavior, the risky situations, things like that. So it's not the same, but it's similar with certain aspects of it for sure. There's really not a link, but again, they've done some studies on the similarities between it that I've read and kind of looked into once I started talking with you and with your BPD and just kind of seeing things you do that's kind of similar to what she does, or what you had done, that type of thing. So it's very interesting, the similarities between the two for sure.
Absolutely. Now, obviously there's so many different variations of autism and stuff, but there is like the common similarities, like how you said you started noticing, with your daughter when she was very young and stuff like that, and it prompted you to get her checked out and stuff like that. What advice would you give, like, to parents that are just coming into this sort of situation, noticing, that maybe their child's learning and stuff like that is just like not on the same level as what they would consider to be normal?
I would definitely recommend if they feel like their child has some developmental delays, has some regression any of their skills, that type of thing that's neurological. Go get a neurologist. Get a referral to a neurologist. Have them run some tests. Make sure that everything's good as far as like their scans. Just talk to them about your concerns. And again, sometimes it's really hard because again, I'm not a professional. You're not a professional. I just am a mom that has a child with autism. So I'm, again, not a professional. Not a doctor. But I'm a mom that has dealt with it, and I know my child, and I know what she needs, and I know what she's going through. And that is like, you have to reiterate that to doctors. You have to keep pushing. If they want to go by a book and say, well, it could be this, or well, maybe it's just this. No, we're going to figure it out. We're going to find out what's going on, and we're going to get a diagnosis, and we're going to figure out treatment. So I mean, it's took me a lot of years and a lot of fighting with doctors to find some that will actually sit and listen to the parents and take their because they're the one that's with the child. I even had like her school teachers, her therapists, all like chart like her behavior activity, the different how many times she hit herself in a day, things like that, for medication purposes. And again, because autism really is there's really no medication. They give these kids adult medication, and there's only certain ones that they can take that is supposed to help with some of the symptoms. And she's, again, some kids do great on the medication that's prescribed to them, but she is not one of those that does great with medication. So we have moved on to CBD oil, and that seems to have a less adverse effect on her body and her attitude and things like that. So yeah, again, just keep pushing, and get answers, and do everything you can to have the doctors and professionals listen to you as a parent.
Now, you just mentioned, and actually, that very much piqued my interest. I know we've talked about it on like a private level and stuff like that, but you mentioned the CBD and stuff like that, and you see as in more states and stuff like that, like marijuana and stuff is becoming more, like available. Like in New Jersey, it's legal.
Mm-hmm.
You hear about all the healing properties that go with CBD. Obviously, it's not exactly THC. It's in the same, arena.
Well, she is actually in Texas. Autism is a medical qualifying condition for THC. So her CBD has the max level of THC percentage that's allowed in Texas. So she actually gets the benefit of the CBD and the THC. So, yeah, I should have clarified that, but that's a good question. But yes, the states that have, full legalization, medical and recreational, have a lot more options for people's conditions. And again, it took me a long time to find a doctor that was willing to even put her on the medical marijuana list, for one, and also prescribe her something. I mean, it's just like it was taboo. Like, oh no, we're not giving this kid. It's not like she's smoking it. It's not like she's vaping it. It's in an oil form. It goes in a syringe in her mouth, just like a regular medicine dropper. So that was really hard for me to, and again, it was to the point where if I would not have found somebody, a doctor, to do that for her, I was going to move to a state where I could get it, like, for her. Like, I was just like, I'm going to move. Like, I'm going to do whatever I got to do. But thankfully, I found that neurologist in Houston, and she's very open to different types of treatments that most of your old school doctors are not going to even try with anyone.
So, like, with that being said, when it comes to the CBD and stuff, you know, you said before, like, versus traditional medicine and stuff like that, you've seen a very positive thing, like, when it comes to the CBD and stuff like that. Has it helped with your daughter's, like, learning and everything else, too? Or is it just, like, more of, like, kind of relaxing her so that way she's not, like, I don't know the exact term. I guess so her symptoms aren't as, like, going. You know what I mean? Like, I know that
Right.
she's nonverbal and stuff like that.
Yeah, like she gets a dose in the morning, one in the afternoon, and then a bigger dose at nighttime. It does help her with sleep. It does relax her. It very much, I mean, it only lasts for so long because it's, again, it's not a potent amount. It doesn't get her high, that sort of thing. It does help her be a lot calmer, focus a lot more, those types of things. So, doesn't let it, when she's taking her doses, it does help with the stress, with the anxiety, that type of thing. So, again, it's all in all been very beneficial all around for her, for sure.
When it comes to, like, eating and stuff like that, do you find it difficult with certain foods, or does she have, like, certain foods that are maybe, like, her favorite or anything?
Oh, yeah, she is. She will try anything. Thankfully, she will try everything. But she does not like, what is it? Like, she doesn't like mashed potatoes, like that type of texture. But she loves French fries, things like that. Like, she doesn't like ice cream, but she loves popsicles. So, I mean, it's kind of, yeah. So things like that. But she will at least try anything, whether it be meat, veggies, pastas, fruits, anything. I mean, I can get her to try it, and I mean, she'll tell. And how I know if she likes it, she goes like yum. So that's kind of my gauge on that. She's highly addicted to chocolate chip pancakes. That's her favorite.
Very nice. So, is there, like, if you had to pick, like, maybe, like, her top two, like, favorite foods that she's always, like, like, she can't wait for you to cook and stuff like that, chocolate pancakes would be one of them?
Yeah, chocolate chip pancakes and spaghetti.
Okay.
Yeah, she loves spaghetti.
When it comes to, like, her actual, like, hobbies and stuff like that, I know you mentioned before, like, she likes jumping on the trampoline. You also said, like, about her tablet and stuff like that too. Is there any other, like, things that she likes to do that brings her enjoyment on, like, a day-to-day basis, or any favorite shows that she might like that she's, like, really into?
And it's so weird, and again, it's the autism for sure. Like, they get like almost an OCD type behavior where they get fixated on a favorite show, and basically she has watched the same shows since she was 3 years old. Like, she doesn't want to watch new things. She's got this group of, like, cartoons that she likes, movies that she likes, and it's only a few of each one, and she just continually watches those over and over. Same thing, like, she has a tablet with YouTube, but she will only watch those specific ones that she watches, like, on Amazon Prime on that tablet. So it's very crazy that she gets fixated and doesn't want to try new things, which is fine with me. I mean, we do try to make her watch other things, do other activities, and then some things we've gotten her to like, or grow to like after doing them. She is very much an outdoor kid. She could live outside in a swimming pool, on a trampoline, on a swing. She loves car rides. Like, she could live in a car. She just loves it. It's just, she loves just rocking out to music and cruising down the highway. So that's one of her favorite things. So I mean, she has her little things that she likes to do, and but she again, she's willing to try new things that I introduced, or if anybody introduces at school or therapy. But again, she's fixated on the certain things that she's familiar with, that she is used to, and so that's what she finds the most enjoyable.
Yeah, and I see, obviously, because we talk all the time and stuff like that, and like you even post on Facebook too. I see you guys go on a lot of adventures together. All the beautiful pictures you post of like the sights that you're seeing around Texas.
Yeah.
That's awesome that you can do that with her, and that she really enjoys that so much.
Yeah, we've took her to like in here in San Antonio. There's a amusement park and a water park that was built by a family that has a daughter with autism and some other disabilities, and so it's all inclusive. So like disabled kids can go there, regular kids can go there. They let in the disabled kids free. It is huge. Like it is like, and it's called Morgan's Wonderland, and it is definitely a wonderland. Like there's just so much to do. These kids, I mean, every time we've took her, she has just had a blast. Like it is one of her favorite places to go, and I mean, it's things like that that the bigger cities need to start doing more things for these kids with autism or with disabilities, like parks, specific things they can ride or do in parks that they can't do at a regular park. I know some of like Chuck E. Cheese has like autism sensory friendly Sundays or something. There's airports are starting to have like sensory rooms for kids that are flying with autism. So it's just getting the word out and getting people to start understanding that when it's 1 in 36, that is a big, big, crazy amount of kids that are dealing with this. And there's no cure. So, I mean, we've got to start. I mean, I'm going to try to advocate more and more as she gets older and I'm able to do more and more things. I definitely want to become even more involved in advocating for a lot of things for her and other kids, not just with autism, with Down syndrome, those types of things. So that's kind of something I want to become passionate about and really dive into in the next few years.
Oh, and I've seen that a lot, in all the years that I've known you. I've seen your passion, especially when it comes to autism part of it. And, she's very lucky to have you in her corner, just to have all that support and everything you do. It's being a parent in general and stuff like that. It's a thankless job. And especially in your situation, you have to go the extra mile because she can't always communicate with you in the best way, like what she needs. And like you said, each day is a new challenge. You never know which side she's going to be on, whether she's going to be very agitated or upset, or it could be a calm and easy day. The amount of sleep that you get versus, not getting sleep at all. Because I know there's been plenty of times that I've talked to you where you're running anything because she's got a lot going on. And, I take my hat off to you to that because it takes a hell of a person to be able to get up every morning, put on a brave face and just, keep going. And, it's not like anyone's there to pat you on the back and be like, Stormy, you're doing such a great job. But I mean, you are an extremely incredible mother, and I have to give you a lot of props for that.
Well, I appreciate that. Trust me, it's a challenge every day, and you just have to get up and you got to be there for your kid. You got to do the best you can do for your kids. I mean, that's any parent. Yeah, and so when you add in a disability or medical issues or anything like that, it does add more strain on the parents. But I feel like I was blessed to have her, and I'm strong enough to be able to be her mom and to take care of her. And that's the way I look at it. Like, I can't look at it as, what did I do wrong, or why didn't this happen to me? Why did this happen to her? You just have to, you just have to live life and love each other, and just, that's it. That's basically it.
And the one last question I wanted to ask you before we wrap it up for tonight, unless there's anything you want to talk about, my last question to you would be: before your daughter was born and stuff like that, do you find that having a daughter with autism and stuff like that changed your personality in a way? And if so, what did you notice were like the biggest changes about your personality with having a child with special needs?
Well, um, I have to say I was probably more selfish before I had her. I pretty much had blinders on of things going on in the world or kids with sickness, kids with illness, because I wasn't in the forefront of it. I wasn't dealing with it. It didn't affect me. That sort of thing. Patience is a big thing with her for sure because I do not have a lot of patience. And I have learned to have patience with her more so than anybody. Like, I still am impatient for other things, but like with her, I've just, things like that have changed me greatly. And I just feel like, again, I just feel like I'm blessed. I don't see it as something bad. I don't see it as poor me, poor her, because we're living a life, and she's happy, she's healthy, she's loved, and I mean that's pretty much all I can ask for.
Absolutely. Like I said, it takes a hell of a person to, step up and, take this full on. And, obviously it's your kid and stuff, but there is, a lot of parents out there and stuff like that that can't handle it, or, they feel overwhelmed by it. It's just too much. And again, I give you a lot of respect for everything that you do each and every single day. And, talking to you every single day, like I hear from you the struggles you go to, and it's incredible that she has you. That's amazing.
Well, I'm glad we got to talk about it. I appreciate you being on here with me as my co-captain tonight, with me taking the helm. So, and again, I'm glad we're talking about subjects that are at the forefront, that need to have awareness, acceptance. I'm so grateful that we are able to do that, uh, especially together. And again, just kind of get the word out to everybody. And you're not alone. We're here. If any parents ever want to message me, if they have a child with autism or they think their child may have autism, just shoot us a message. Shoot Nick a message. He'll get it to me. Whatever. But we're more than willing to answer questions, those types of things. So, and then I wanted to just say hi, Alana, because I see she said hi, Dad. So I wanted to tell her hi.
Always, always. She's definitely a big fan.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I thought something went great. I was actually looking forward to this, like very much so, because like I've learned over the years and stuff like that, because I wasn't really around anyone who had autism in my life and stuff. So, talking to Stormy and being as close with her as that I am, I learned a lot about like her daughter and stuff like that, and the things that she has to go through in daily life, and it is a lot. It is. I mean, I don't experience it firsthand. I can only see it from the outside looking in, but it does take a lot and a lot of learning, a lot of trial and error. I've seen Stormy go through, the highs and lows with that, whether she's getting like not a lot of sleep or, whatever the case may be. Maybe her daughter is just having an especially difficult day that day, but, somehow or another, she always puts on a brave face. And I've learned that about her, that, you know, she's probably one of the toughest people I've ever met, but also one of the most caring people I've ever met. And I think a lot of it has to do, not only with just who she is as a person, but, the struggles that she endures every single day. And, you know, nobody's going to love their kids more than their parents, obviously. And, Stormy has a lot of love for her daughter. And, the fact that, if you follow along with her on social media and stuff like that, you'll see like all the crazy adventures that they'll go and do, the sights they'll see and stuff. And it's just amazing that they have that bond and they could share that together and overcome these, day-to-day obstacles. It's truly incredible. And that's why I was so looking forward to this, because I'm learning just as much as everybody else is. You know what I mean? Like there was a lot of
Yeah,
things.
And actually, now that we kind of did this, I may start like on my TikTok page just posting different things on autism or different videos of things that I'm going through or Hannah's going through. So yeah, that's something, that I can definitely kickstart now that we've kind of did a live on it, and I feel comfortable doing that. So
Yeah, and I think it went very well today. And honestly, I think that it would be very helpful, because you're using your platform and stuff like that to, bring awareness to this subject. And I think that's great. I think that's very noble. And, I commend you on that. And I'm excited to keep learning more. Like, like the things I learned about today, like it's a new experience. You know what I mean? That's why we started doing these Tuesday night healings to, open the world to other people and stuff like that, and allow them to have a glimpse in the different, struggles that people go through on a day-to-day basis, whether it be from borderline, whether it be, autism, or, we're going to do a bipolar episode coming up as well. Where I promised a few people that they could jump on and talk about that for people who have lived through it. And just even if it's not, something that has to do with mental health or anything like that, like next week, our episode is going to be about online dating and how toxic that environment is and stuff like that. So it's not always about mental illness. It's just different things that people are dealing with on day-to-day life that get through. And the people that have reached out to us and stuff like that about these things, it's incredible. It's incredible to have people reach out and say, hey, what you said tonight, like one of the biggest things I've gotten reached out to about is I've mentioned a few times that for me with my borderline and stuff like that, I have different ringtones set for different people. And I already know before I even look at my phone who's texting me or calling me, so I can mentally prepare myself for what's going to come next. A lot of people actually have reached out to me about that, telling me, oh, it's a clever idea. And, it's not like I copied it from somewhere. I just honestly, it was just something that always worked for me. Nothing upset me more personally than I'm like texting a friend or something, like, or I'll be texting Stormy, and then all of a sudden, like, I'll put my phone in my pocket, I'll go back to doing work, and then I'll hear my ringtone go off again, and then maybe it's like somebody I don't want to talk to. I'm just like, oh, great. So it just like kills the whole vibe and stuff. So at least I know when I hear that message that, like, prepare, it's this person, like, just relax. So, it's really great to hear from people and stuff like that, and hear that, the stuff that we've been talking about is actually like getting through, and, people are appreciating what's going on. I mean, I can only speak for myself, but, I don't think either of us knew how far this was going to go as far as people joining in and asking questions and stuff, and each week it's a new adventure. It really is, just meeting new people, having people reach out, talking about new things, learning about new things. It's just an exciting thing. So, and I'm glad, especially with my books and stuff like that, the reviews that have been on Amazon and stuff about people talking about like how they related to that kind of trauma and crisis and stuff like that. Like it just makes me eternally grateful. You know what I mean? That's the whole reason why I did it, was so I can get that out there and have people be able to relate to it and understand it. And, even if you didn't understand that world before, you're coming into your own by learning about it. So with that being said, this Thursday will be our next live. For anyone who hasn't joined us yet, for our Thursday lives, we are going over the Souls of Paradise. We are almost at the end. This week we are doing chapters 17, 18, and 19. And next Thursday will be our conclusion of that book with chapters 20 and 21, and then a final review on the entire thing. So, like I always say, if you haven't checked the books out, they are on Amazon. For the Kindle versions, 99 cents. The other versions a little more expensive because of, obviously, creating the book and such. So you can always check it out, get caught up, so that way we can jump on on Thursday. Maybe you could read along with us. You have plenty of time to get caught up. That book actually isn't as long as the next one we'll be going to in 2 weeks, Paradise Reborn. Obviously, it's significantly bigger. It's literally double the size of the first one, so that one's going to take us a little bit longer to actually get through. And there's way more detail, and it's a really good story. It's my favorite story. So, next Tuesday,
Mine too. My favorite too.
Yes, and that was such an exciting time. You know what I mean? Like when I made that book and stuff like that, I decided that each chapter that I created, not only would it motivate me to do so, but each chapter we would have Thursday night story time where me and Stormy would get together and talk on the phone, and I would read to her what I did, get her feedback and stuff like that, but also keep her going along with the story, and she got to hear it in real time as I was writing it. And then it was just like this book absolutely was dedicated to her because she was there for the entire thing. And it helped me a lot with my writing, but also it was something that I look forward to like every week, just to be able to have that Thursday night story time, where I'd knock out like two chapters, and get her take on it and kind of see like as a like someone who's like enjoying the writing and like a fan perspective, like like, oh, okay, like, oh, now I'm excited for this one, or oh, okay, that's the direction he's going into, and I could kind of judge it. Like it's such a great thing to like have that experience. And if anyone's a writer watching this, I highly recommend it, you know what I mean, as you're going along, because you're also connecting. I mean, me and her have been like best friends for years, but it's just it was just an exciting thing to see it from that perspective, from like the author and viewer perspective as well, to get a glimpse of how that all boiled down. So that's the one we'll be diving into in 2 weeks. Like I said, the next time we get together for next Tuesday, we're going to be doing online dating and everything associated with that, all the toxic stuff with it, the pros, the cons, how the dating world has evolved from maybe 20 years ago to current day. It's such an exciting topic that I feel passionate about talking about. The weekend after, or the Tuesday after that, we're going to go into toxic relationships, signs, how to spot them, experience from being in them, all those types of things. We're really going to dive into that. And then I'll post the next 3 weeks like I just did with this one. And, that way you can follow along and see our progression. With that being said, I don't have anything more for you guys tonight. Do you have anything?
No, I'm looking forward to next Tuesday's subject. I got a lot to talk about on that too. Um, and then also, just if anybody has ideas of things they want us to talk about, just shoot us those ideas. We're definitely open to discussing, most things, I think. So, yeah, thanks for joining us, everyone, and appreciate it. Good night.
Yeah, we have no boundaries in here, so we made a deal that when we would do these sort of things and stuff like that, we'd be open and honest. And maybe there's certain things that don't need to be spoken about per se, but like for the most part, open and honest, and just like getting it out there, because you can't, if you're faking, especially when we talked about borderline for so long, you're not helping anybody if you're not being honest with what's going on. So if you have any questions or anything like that, please feel free to shoot us a message, and we'll address that. Or if you want to join us on one of the chats and stuff like that, you guys are welcome to do so. If there's a subject you want to talk about to bring light to, maybe we are not familiar with it, we're learning too, so we could do our research and stuff like that and have like a roundtable discussion. So don't be afraid to shoot us a message as far as anything you want being heard or being brought to light, because it's all about awareness. So with that being said, thank you guys so much, the ones who have jumped on and followed us again for another one of our Tuesday night healings. And I will see you guys again on Thursday for chapter 17, 18, and 19. Good night, everybody.